It's time for us to head to Horsham District, the Jeparrot Rainbow Storm Report. And Big Weary, how are you?
Yeah, very well, Wayne. And there's a bit of final fever in the area this weekend. The whole community is really excited to take on Harrow, and I'm a part of that excitement, Flowman, and got out on the track, and the boys trained really well, and really looking forward to getting into the footy this weekend at Stall.
Yeah, there was a bit of shock around the club that you turned up. 2 training nights here, Big Weary. So apparently the people serving the bar on the Thursday night had a bit of a shock about all of that.
Yeah, there's a couple extra chicken schnitzels cooked up, Flowman, for tea last night, which was delicious. But, it was actually great to be able to train this year. The last couple of final series we've gone into, I've been limping around the park, so it's great to get into this finals week feeling somewhat fresh.
Oh, it is, and you're pretty fresh and ready. But before we take a look at that side of it, we'll go to last week's games. We'll then probably catch up with a couple of junior medal counts and some of the kids from your area. A bit of netball too there to talk about, and then we'll preview your big match. This is going to be interesting because Edenhope Aspley are gone, and they went out to Noradjuha Quantong 10-2, 62 to 3 goals, 12-30. And that for mine over at Rupanyup, the travel to Edenhope Aspley, I think finally got them after what's been a pretty reasonable season by the Saints.
Yeah, the Saints have been thereabouts all year, Flowman, and they'll be disappointed to go out in that first final again. They were dealt a real blow before the game with Cleve Hughes missing through injury, and then Ben McIntyre also, Flowman. So the 2 big players we spoke about last week didn't actually suit up for the Saints boys, and that obviously cost them a lot on the scoreboard, and they only managed the 3 goals without that firepower. And up the other end, it looked like Noradjuha took advantage of their opportunities, kicking quite straight with 10 goals to win the game.
Yeah, they did. They were really on fire. But I tell you what, on fire were the Rupanyup boys. They're coming, and it just might be very interesting this weekend when we preview that game. They beat the Swifts 13-13, 91 to 12-9, 81. The Swifts' form going in to this game, they got beaten by Nadimak, and it was a bit of a concern. And I went to Rupanyup. I thought that was the way to go for the game, and I got a feeling that that's what they did on the day. They just were able to outlast a Swift side who just couldn't get there at the Dock Lake.
Yeah, the Swifts didn't show up until after half-time, Flowman. The Rupanyup boys looked like very much in control of that game up until half-time, but still out of nowhere come out with a 6-goal third quarter, and that actually put them in front going into the final term. But a few of the experienced players through the midfield, Elliot Kelly and Mitch Musgrove, had a great impact for the Rupanyup boys, and Jordan Wiedemann, their captain across centre-half back, controlled things, and then up forward their coach finished all that good work off just to settle his team down and get Rupanyup across the line. But it was a great fight off the back of Angus Murray and Joseph Martin by the Store boys on the day.
5 to Braden Nyson and 3 each to Baker and Carey, the veteran for the Swifts. They go out, though, in the first round of finals. And just a quick look across the grades here. Harrow Balmoral in everything. So that was the Keys who played against Edenhope in the reserves, and the Keys got through, and the Swifts also got through, or I should say Pimpernio reserves got through by 1 point over the Swifts in a thriller.
Yeah, that should be a great game this weekend when Kalkee, who have the advantage of their home deck in the reserves, come up against the Pimpernio boys. So crosstown rivals there. And then also on the Saturday, Flowman, Harrow and Noradjuha Quantong in the reserves will be a high-standard game of reserves footy.
Yeah, the finals in the 17s had Harrow 21-28 to Rup 2-4, and then Nadimak 24-19 to Swifts 5-6. I was shocked at the under-17s, the difference between the two sides. I mean, you sort of got third versus sixth and fourth versus fifth. You wouldn't expect results so one-sided.
Yeah, sometimes just with this top 6 you do get a few results like that, Flowman, but it also provides the opportunity for a big upset, which we found out in our under-17 and under-15 netball, Flowman.
You did. We'll get to that in a moment. The 14s, Rupanyup 8-8 to Kalkee 1-3, and Edenhope Aspley 4-6 to Pimpernio 2-3. So it is the Saints boys having a go against Rupanyup in the under-14s this weekend.
Yeah, and all eyes will be on young Riley Downer, Flowman. He won the under-14s medal, and I think nearly had a perfect season, polling something silly like 44 votes. So I think we've mentioned him earlier in the year, but he's a prominent junior in the competition.
Yeah, we're going to have a look at those votes right now, but before we do, I want to ask you about the under-17s and the under-15 girls out there at Jeparrot Rainbow. Those senior girls didn't quite make it in the A grade, but the girls and the junior grades did win their games on the weekend.
Yeah, unfortunately for the A grade, they've gone out in the same final as they did last year and against the same team, Noradjuha Quantong. So disappointing for the girls, but yeah, it's great to know that they're a more than competitive side in the competition. But yeah, it was great to see the under-15 and the under-17 girls both upset Natty Muck, and yeah, they move on to some important games this week. I think the under-15s come up against Edenhope, which will be a tough game, but the under-17s come up against Taylor's Lake, who only a few weeks ago they managed to beat Flowman. So look out for a preliminary final berth for the under-17 girls.
Yeah, absolutely. Riley Downer, as you mentioned, in the under-14 boys, polled the most votes in the best and fairest from Rupanyup. He got 44, which is just an incredible number. There's a bloke in 7th place from your club called Lenny Weir, and your cousin, and I got to say, he's polled a lot more votes there than you've kicked goals this year, Peter.
Yeah, no, he had a great season, Lenny, and 23 votes is a great score in its own right, Flowman. That'll win a lot of medal counts each year across different leagues. But, yeah, he had a great season, as we've touched on all year, and I'm pretty sure he might take home the club best and fairest.
Yeah, Ryder Gould in 9 votes, and great to see Fletcher Kelly get some votes too on the score sheet with 3. Dusty Eckerman and Kane Batson both polled a couple of votes to be on that list. And then, of course, as we head to the under-17 board, and it was a really interesting one here because we had some really good players in this grade, but a couple of your boys did poll some votes, which is great to see. And it was a tough season to be, putting it bluntly, it was a tough season for your lads. I think just the 4 wins in the end, so it is hard to be up on the leaderboards when you don't have the numbers.
Yeah, it is, Flowman. I think Frederick Frew from Pimpernaya, who's played a fair bit of senior footy as well, was a standout junior in the under-17s, and he won the league medal. But yeah, as you touched on, for our boys, it is hard to poll the votes when you're not winning as many games as those top sides. But there's still a lot of young fellas like Jamie Eckerman. I thought he had a great season, and Will Fisher played well all year. So there'll be probably 2 boys who will be right at the top of the count when it comes to the local best and fairest.
Yeah, 7 for William Fisher in the count. Behind, as you said, Fred Frew from Pimpernaya and Albie Kingston from Rupanyup. Unlucky. 24 and 23 on the leaderboard. They were close, those 2. And then young Bronte Hiscock with 13 from Kaniva-Lior got into the top 8. And good to see the boys there. Will Fisher with 7. And nice to see Kobe Dickinson. He polled in both games he played from over there at nil. He with 6 votes. And then good performance there by Marcel Badua and Seamus Clark, both getting 4 apiece. So good on the boys from your local club. All right, we get to this big time, and it's football finals time. There's 2. The elimination comes, and this is a big one. We'll start with that, and she's going to be on when we see these 2 sides fight it out. Last week, they both come off wins, so they're both in good form. But ultimately, it's finals football, and one will go. Rupanyup are last year's premiers. Can they beat Noradjuha Quantong at Kalki?
Yeah, it should be a cracking game of football. I think Noradjuha and Rupanyup, Flowman, have got some great matchups all across the field. I think, it's going to be a great game there at Kalki. I think whichever team, you noticed last week, both teams have great experienced players, with Kerr and Phelan in the better players for Noradjuha Quantong, and as we touched on, the Rupanyup boys who really stood up in that stall game. So I think Kalki, it's a quick deck, which can suit Noradjuha Quantong players, but I think if Rupanyup can gain the composure in the game and really get the game on their terms, I think, they'll go a long way to winning that game. But if it does end up a bit of a scrap, Flowman, and a high-intensity final, we'll watch that to suit the Noradjuha Quantong team.
Yeah, going to be a beauty with the Cam Bruce lining up in his side. He's a good player. No doubt we'll see Braden Nyson kick some goals in the match. But the big one, we'll get to it now, and that is your match. No one's got close to Harrow Balmoral this year. Japarrett Rainbow early in the year played them and, got within about 7 goals in the end, but had a pretty good fight back in the third. I just think that this is going to be a lot closer. You blokes have recruited a couple of players after the June 30 started playing with you. You've got some form back yourself up forward to have 3 forwards who can kick goals. You've got a very, very fast Trent Burgoyne roving the packs and kicking them. Sinadowski has been good for you too. You've got the masters of the game in Ash Clugston and Tommy Schumann. I reckon this is going to be an absolute beauty, and I reckon that Harrow Balmoral might win.
Oh, yeah, as you touched on, Flowman, we're heading into this final. It's probably as fit and as strong and as fast as we have been for a lot of years, and we're looking forward to taking our full-strength team in there. There was a few little complication with points, but the coaches have settled on what the team we think will be best fit to beat the Harrow boys, and as we know, they're going to take a lot of beating. They haven't been beaten all year. Nick Peakin's a great experienced player, very well accoladed player throughout the comp. Simon Close. Michael Close returns to the team across centre-half back, Flowman. So, yeah, it should be a great battle there at Stawell, and I think well worth for people with neither interest in the team coming to watch as well. But we know both clubs are well supported, so I'm expecting a big crowd there. And, yeah, looking forward to getting out there and taking on Harrow, because we haven't, as you touched on, since that early game back in round 3 that was all the way back in April. So both teams are very different from there, but, yeah, it should be a cracking game of finals footy.
Absolutely should be. I noticed you've got one extra player named in your side. Is there any injury cloud or worry over any of your key players?
Oh, there might be one, Flowman, that we're just waiting to hear on. But, yeah, apart from that, we are full strength. And, yeah, it's pretty well documented. The Depart Rainbow have sort of limped to the line in the last few seasons, but it's definitely not the case. We take our full-strength team to Stawell on Saturday. So, yeah, I can't wait to get out there. And you push every year for this top 2 finish, Flowman, and we've only managed it a couple of times. I think way back when the Giants were in the comp was the last time we finished second. So here's a real opportunity for the club to make a grand final. And, yeah, I can't wait to get out there and see how we go against the might of the Harrow Balmoral Roos.
Oh, yeah, she's a beauty, and it'll be great across the grades too at North Park at Stawell. Get down there and have a look at the very well credentialed the Storm. Certainly be looking forward to catching up with you next week.
No worries, Wayne. Thank you very much.